China is always trying to reinvent itself. Everybody's talking about fajian, meaning development. It's almost like some sort of sacred mantra. Almost anything could be justified by calling it development. Now, as the recognition of the environmental consequences of developing, the leadership have launched a new slogan called scientific development, 科学发展. What this means is that they want to tweak the whole idea of how China moves forward and factor in environmental considerations.
China is still really a developing country, and it has a responsibility to grow the economy and improve the standard of living. For economic growth, we still have to depend on coal, and honestly, coal is a large source of pollutants. If you want to talk about reducing emissions, that is going to be very difficult. They are going to increase. There's nothing we can do. There are too many cars. The congestion issues in Beijing are just too serious. We know that when cars drive at low speeds or stop and go, emissions are much higher than during standard use.
So there are three main causes of air pollution in a city like Beijing. There's dust from deserts and desertified areas to the north and to the west. The second would be automobiles, especially trucks, which are diesel, sort of that black particulate matter that is particularly bad for you. The third, the use of coal, whether it's to generate electricity or to fire any number of other kinds of plants, particularly cement and steel. That's a very high energy industry. China has gotten in many ways to be sort of the industrial dumping ground for the world. We complain in America about losing jobs, but we've exported all our dirty industries to China. They're bearing more of the environmental cost than their rightful share. But the paradox, of course, is when it comes to climate change, it doesn't matter where they are. We all pay the consequences.
We have invested almost 120 billion yuan. We've made progress in 10 years. Blue sky days have seen a large increase, and levels of 3 of the 4 major pollutants have reached national standards. Although particulate matter levels haven't reached the standard, they have dropped significantly. Beijing's environmental problems, especially air pollution, are regional. They are determined by wind direction and weather conditions in the region, by the geography. These effects cross regional boundaries, and one administration's measures cannot be fully effective. To see improvement, you have to make a region-wide effort.
I do fully believe that Chinese have every right to have as good a life as we Americans do. Each person in America emits 5 times more greenhouse gases than the average Chinese. So it's a bit disingenuous for America to say, okay, China, stop, we're filling up on carbon and greenhouse gases, you don't get your turn. So the challenge is there a way for China to continue a reasonable development rate and still not poison both itself and all the rest of us? It seems to me, at least, that that would certainly involve the United States, too, making some sacrifices and cutting down on our very wanton and wasteful use of energy, which we show no inclination yet to do. So what are the consequences in China? A rapacious use of resources, mass consumption, and growing amounts of greenhouse gases and climate change. You know, we are so used to thinking of the world as compartmentalized into countries, and that what goes on in some other country is their business, what goes on in our country is our business. And we have insufficiently, I think, understood that in this new world of mass, rapid industrialization, we are now sharing a common circulatory system, in effect. That means that what China does to its air is getting done to us. And what we do to our air is getting done to China. It's almost like being attacked by Martians. Well, who cares about your country when the Martians arrive? Well, the Martians have arrived, and it is in the form of climate change. We have a new common enemy, a new common challenge, and yet we're insufficiently aware of it, and we have not even begun to galvanize to deal with it.
For the past year, our photographer in Beijing has been documenting that city's air quality on a daily basis. So stay with us, take a look out our window, and get a sense of what Beijing's air is like yourself.